Welcome to another Django screencast. Today we're going to look at the NewForms-Admin Branch. The NewForms-Admin Branch is a separate branch of code within Django that's focused on taking the existing contrib.admin application and converting that to use NewForms in place of the old forms technology. In addition to that, it also will be removing the embeddedness of admin code within the models. So we'll be pulling out all of the admin, that inner admin class, out of the models and separating it. So there's not those interdependencies there. In addition, the NewForms-Admin branch also will make it a lot more flexible to make changes to the admin application than we've been able to do currently with the contrib.admin application. Now, I'm very new to the NewForms-Admin branch. I just started playing around with it the last couple of weeks. And I kind of thought that as I was going through it and going through the process of converting my code, it would be a good idea to do these screencasts and just kind of show you the different things that I've run into. So by no means am I an expert on this. I'm just sort of sharing what I'm learning as I'm learning it. So hopefully you'll follow along. Now this is the delicious link style application that we've been working with in several screencasts now. And currently we have the administration site, and under delinquent we've got categories. So it's just a straight, right here we're just using admin pass. And so it's just a section for categories. And then we also have links. And the links I have formatted somewhat. I've got a list display here. I've got a list filter over here. I've got a date hierarchy and also a search field here. And when we click into one of these items, we can just kind of look, and it's just the fields laid out the way that they normally are. So what we want to do is take this admin and convert over to the NewForms-Admin branch. So let's get started. The first thing we'll need to do is get the NewForms-Admin branch code. So on the Django wiki, there is a NewForms-Admin branch page on the wiki, which I'll have in the show notes. It tells you exactly how to get the branch, and you can just use Subversion to check out the NewForms-Admin branch. And then you'll need to set that up yourself. I'm not going to walk you through that. But basically, you will need to make sure that that NewForms-Admin branch is on your Python path, just as you're working with trunk now. For myself, since I'm using Git, I already have all of the branches. And so I can just come over here to my Git directory for Django and type git checkout and then the name of the branch, which is NewForms-Admin. By doing that, Git will automatically switch over to the NewForms-Admin branch, and it's that simple. If we come back to where run server was running, you can see that I've already got some errors. The NewForms-Admin branch will break things, so there are backwards incompatible changes. And you can see one of them is that pre-populate from is causing a problem. So, and that's the main error that you'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and just stop this run server here, and we're going to go ahead and get into the code. Now this is my models for the delinquent project. And notice, as we saw a second ago within the admin interface, the category just has an inner class of admin that is passed. So just the default settings there. With the link model, we have the inner admin class, and we're doing several things. There's list display, there's search fields, date hierarchy, and list filter. Now the item that was causing the problem is this pre-populate from. And the reason for that is because, like I stated earlier, that the NewForms-Admin branch aims to remove a lot of the admin-esque settings from within the models. So this inner class admin is going to go away, and this pre-populate from, which is an admin only element, it's going to go away as well. So before we get into modifying our model, what we need to do is wire in the NewForms-Admin contrib into our urls.py. Now that's handled differently now than it was in the past. So if I go to my urls.py module for my project, you'll notice that before I had admin / and then I included django.contrib admin.urls, which is a common way that you include that in. With the NewForms-Admin branch, we're going to do it a little differently. First thing I need to do is import from django.contrib. I'm going to import admin. And then the next thing I need to change is that we can keep this same matching pattern. Well, actually, we can expand it a little bit here. But what I need to change is this include to be actually admin.site.root. And the reason for this, the way that this is set up differently, is because under NewForms-Admin, you're allowed to have multiple admins. So previously you had one admin, generally, the way it worked out of the box, and all of your applications fit within that admin. Now with NewForms-Admin, you can have multiple admins, and so you can have an admin that might be events admin, and where the only apps that were in there were the events related stuff, and so you can kind of pull out separate admins to give users, administrative users, different functionality, so they only see what they need to see in a sense. So we're not going to get into that right now. I'll do that in a later screencast. But for right now, we're just going to take the defaults, and just to review, we need to say from django.contrib import admin, and then the admin matching, we're going to do admin.site.root. And that'll give us the default single admin like we're used to in old forms. Our goal here is just to convert what we have into the NewForms-Admin branch. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And now the next thing we need to do is make some model changes. So, like I said, this inner admin class goes away. So for category, since it's real simple and we're not doing any kind of customization to it, I'm going to go ahead and start with that. So we can get rid of that. And what we need to do is we need to have another import here, which is from django.contrib import admin. And we're going to use this to register this model with the administration interface. And that's how the tie-ins are made now. So what I'm going to do is say admin.site.register, and I'm going to go ahead and register my category model. So by doing that, that's really all I need to do to convert this category model the way it was before. Notice now, just to reiterate, I don't have that inner admin class any longer, so there's no admin-esque functionality within my model. I'm going to go ahead and comment out this pre-populate from, so it doesn't cause a problem. And what we'll try to do is just go look at the admin now. So we'll come back here and do run server, and come back here. I'm going to go ahead and refresh my screen, and notice now we have delinquent and categories. I can click on that and I get my category admin like I had before, and go into a particular item, and everything works the same. Now you might be surprised to see that NewForms-Admin looks exactly like the old Forms-Admin. And for the most part, that's true. So if you're expecting an interface upgrade, it's not there, at least at this point. So the interface works great, so I don't see any reason why we need to upgrade it. But so that's all working fine. So let's go back to the little bit more complicated example, which was our link model. And the first thing I'm going to want to deal with is this inner admin items here. Now this is a little different because we actually have options that we need to specify. See, here we didn't specify any options. We just passed in the model, the class name of the model. So the syntax is a little different when we're dealing with options. And the way that you generally do is you create a new class. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new class called link options. Whoops. And that's going to inherit from admin.modelAdmin. So we're creating a new class called link options that inherits from admin.modelAdmin. And within that, we can take all of these items and paste them in like that. For the most part, these settings can be pasted right in without any change. And I'll cover an item that does require change here in a second. But these can all be pasted in just the way we had them before within this new class. Now, the only item that we haven't dealt with is the pre-populate. Right up here. And oh, by the way, we can get rid of this now. This pre-populate from, that syntax has changed. What we have now, it's not changed much, but what we have now is a new attribute called pre-populated fields. So I'm going to say pre-populated fields, and that accepts a dictionary that is the name of the field and then a tuple of where it's getting populated from. So here what we've said is the slug field for our link table is going to get pre-populated from the title field. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And now once we have all that in place, we just need to register these link options with and our model with the admin. So again, we do admin.site.register. This time we pass in the link model, but then we also pass in the class that has the options. We'll go ahead and save that. Come over here to our run server, make sure it's okay. And now we're going to just refresh this admin, and now we see a new item called links. If I go in there, it looks just like it did before. We can, filter by Django or by Ruby or whatever. All of this works the same way. We've got the search item here. So everything works exactly the same. Just make sure the search works. Everything works exactly the same, but we're working off a NewForms-Admin now. Now, I want to show you one item where the syntax has changed, and that is in the fields options. Fields is used to order and group fields in the change form layout. And you can still use fields if you wanted to change the sort order or whatever of this layout, but it's just a list now. The when we used to group fields into different field sets, that's now a new item called field sets. So the syntax is similar to what it was before with the fields, but it's called field sets, and we'll walk through it. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a field set to this. And I've got it here in a snippet, so I don't have to type it all. All those braces and parentheses make me crazy. So anyway, this is how it was before in the old Forms admin. It was fields equal, and then the section name, none, the fields that were actually in that section, and I've taken all the fields except for the slug field. And then I had an advanced options section with the slug field, and the class on that was collapse. Now this is how it was in the old Forms admin. So what we're going to do is, like I said, this is changed from fields to field sets. So there's that change there. And then there's one other change, and that is the classes now takes a tuple. So instead of classes collapse, we're going to want to convert this to a tuple. And so if you had other classes that you wanted to apply to this, for instance, wide or something like that, they would just be added on to this tuple. We'll just go with the default collapse. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Come back here and refresh this. And now notice that it's working the way we expected. We also have reordered the fields. If you remember before, category was up here. Let me show you. Category was after URL and before notes. And now we've put category after notes. And so we can see that that's working, categories after notes. And then under advanced options, it's collapsed, and we have the slug. So that's the main change that you need to watch out for. Now we haven't got into inlines and things like that, and I'll do that in another screencast. I want to cover one more item. And that is, I don't like all of this this admin stuff within my models.py module. I'd like to get it out of there. So now you may prefer it in, and this is just a personal preference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this stuff here. And I'm going to create a new module called admin.py and paste that in. I'm going to go get a couple other elements. One is the admin site register category. And the other is my import at the top. Now we need to do one more import, and that is the imports for our model names here, right here, and right here. So I'm just going to say from delinquent.models import category link. Okay. Now we need to do one more thing. So let me make sure I got everything out of here. That's out of there. This is all out of there. Yep, it looks good. It's just model stuff now. Makes me happy. Now, the one other item that we need to do is within our init, and you can do this however you want, but this is how I do it. Within my init, I need to import in that admin. So I'm just going to add in here import delinquent.admin. And by doing that, whenever any of these reference, this import will happen, and it will register these models. So let's go back to our UI here and make sure everything's still working. Category still works. And links still work. As well as the advanced options. So we can see everything still works. So anyway, that's what I wanted to cover with you today, and we'll get into more of it as I get into more of it. So thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again on the next Django Screencast.